Okay, so we are going to start and let me just unpin you so that I can see everyone. Okay, cool. So now today we are going to talk about game engines. Okay, so does anyone has any previous idea on game engines that what they are? So we are going to today talk about game engines. Does anyone know what are game engines or what do they use for? Obviously for games, but has anyone any experience with any sort of game engine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Guys, let's make it interactive, okay?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but your voice is really low.
Oh, sorry, I'm using a headphone.
Yeah. Hey, cool. Now I can hear you very clear. Okay, so we are now going to talk about the game engines, and today's topic is that. So, does anyone has any experience with game engines, or do you know? Do you like games at the first place?
Personally, I love games, but I don't know how to build one.
Okay, so we are going to build one. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. If possible, you can pin my window. So that is one way to look at the screen. So if you look at my name and pin that window, not the one in the blue, the other one. Okay, so where you can see the screen moving and everything. If you can press the pin button on that, you can view that. The other way of viewing it is basically I'm going to share the screen as well. So let's see whatever suits best. So I'm also going to do that for you guys. Okay.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I have started the presentation. Hope you can see the screen. Okay, so now I'm going to yeah, remove this and going to talk about,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, now you can see my screen probably. And now I'm going to go to this website called Unity. Okay, going to search for Unity. Okay, then I'll get this website. All right, so this is the Unity's official website. Okay, now let's see how do we download the game engine, how you gonna start your journey in building games. Okay, so there are like options like get Unity Pro, but we are not interested in that. Okay, so let's see what we want to do. We want to get Unity, that is for sure. Then we have these three options. We don't require to pay to Unity to get Unity. So we can select individual. Make sure you don't select teams, select individual. Then you can see, oh voila, now it's completely free. So by default it will take you to teams, but make sure you are selecting individual because you want to make games for your own. And since you are not working as a company, you can totally do that. If you are professional, you can use that version. If you are as individual, you can also select this version. Both are freely available and both are equally powerful. So you can choose any version of this software called Unity, and this is basically your version. Since I already have this version installed, I'm not going to care about it much. Okay, so now what I care about is there are two things. One is called Unity Hub. Okay, the Unity Hub is basically the place where all the project lives. Okay, so in the install sections of Unity Hub, you can add any Unity version and click next, and it will get installed whatever the latest Unity version is. For example, if I want to install this, I can go click on next and I'll install this. So I have a YouTube channel as well. If you look at, yeah, so I'm going to click on XRDI. like you have this community XRCA, which is Extended Reality Creators of Africa, we have this community called Extended Reality Developers of India. Okay, so there on our YouTube channel, you'll find a lot of videos where you can learn about game development and everything. But I'm interested, I want to show you, I want to give you the link of a video which is like how to install Unity. Okay, so let's how to install and enter, and then you will get this link that how to install Unity. Okay, so you can follow this link for process. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Okay, so here you go. I dropped the link in the chat. You can watch this video. You can subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And basically, you will get the idea how to install this game engine. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about what is a game engine. All right, because a game engine is known as the future of programming, future of operating systems. So let's talk about why game engines are known as the future of, you can say, operating systems. So earlier, when computing started, when we started computing at the first time, the computer used to code only in binary. So binary means 0 or 1 was the only language which you can use to build something. All right. Then we created simpler languages like assembly, which were more closer to human. Why they were more closer? Because people can totally write in those languages, and basically people could understand languages. Like you can write numbers in assembly, you can write small words in assembly. Okay, so they shifted from binary to assembly, which is a more human language. But then they came up with the idea of high level languages. So these high level languages use English, use any other language, means they use words which are even closer to the human understanding. Then they started using these human understandable languages, which are called high level languages. Now you don't have to code zeros and ones because you are using some sort of high level languages. Now, the next era, which we saw after the year 2000, where the graphic interface languages, basically, you can also say drag and drop things. Like you have WordPress, which is underneath there is definitely the code running, which is creating the HTML for you. But this is a high level language, which means you can create things using arranging that. You can create things in high level. You can create things by dragging and dropping. So these sort of languages are
Now me put
basically
am.
the current of
Now
languages.
me put am guy.
Okay, so next what we want to talk about
Now me
is
put the effect.
these 3D languages. Okay, so
Now me put the
now
effect.
we are talking about game engines, because these game engines are going to be the next generation of languages. So now you understand how we progress from binary to now the future is going to be all these 3D languages, and you have to don't care about them. All right. So now let's move on to your first 3D language, and that is going to be Unity for you guys. So let's create a new project. So for doing that, just hit on new and it will give you a name, but you can name your project by yourself. There are multiple choices of what kind of project you want to build. For us, a 3D project is good to go. Okay. So let's name our project. What you want to name it? Do you want to name something? Let's name our first baby. What do you want to name it? Let's say name it our first project. Let's name it
Name it
XRCA.
Trinity. Trinity.
Trinity. Is it good?
Yeah, Trinity.
Yep. So we named it Trinity. Trinity from the Neo is Trinity from the Matrix. So we are starting this Trinity project.
Trinity from the Matrix. Yeah.
Trinity from the Matrix. Yeah, she was cool. And now what Unity is doing, basically Unity is creating the files of this project for us. So I'll show you that what sort of file it's going to create at whatever the location we selected for this project. So it's right now creating a lot of bunch of files for us, and we are going to take a look at what it is actually creating. All right. So, so far, what kind of people we have in this community right now? What kind of people we have in that this call right now? So, do you want to introduce, since UT is busy creating this project? Do you want to introduce, guys? Yep, surely.
Hi, my name is Ted Boys. So
Thread
I'm from
boys.
Nigeria.
Nice to meet you, man. What you do?
I'm a graphic designer
Fantastic. Then you
and I
know.
do music also.
Wow, then you know a lot more 3D programming than me, right? Isn't it? Because graphic programmers are more closer to graphics, right? You understand it much better that how essential or how cool it is. Okay. Anybody else want to introduce?
Yeah. Nice meeting you.
Yeah. Okay, so Unity has created this project for us and it has a few things in it. Okay, I'm going to talk about what they are. So let me just do this right click on this assets folder and show you a few files. So Unity created this Trinity folder as we named it. So it named it Trinity. Okay, it already has 50 MB of worth of product inside it. So it already has the size of 49.8 MB. It has some folders here. There are project settings and all. Okay, if I go inside this assets, there are only one thing, that is scenes, and in the scenes there is one sample scene. Okay, so this is the sample scene which you can see here. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of noises. Can you make sure that you mute if you are not speaking? If you want to speak, then you can turn back on the mute button. Okay, so that will be really helpful. I'm getting a lot of noises. Okay, I think from Ibrahim, I'm getting a lot of noises. So yeah, thank you. You are very kind, Ibrahim. Thank you very much. Okay, so now in this section we can see a lot of things. Okay, so let's try to understand what are they. Okay, this is the first window. You can call it scene window. It has a name called scene window. First, each and every window can be dragged anywhere. You can drag it anywhere. Okay, so for example, if you don't get the same interface as mine, if you get some other arrangement of windows, you can select the same windows by hitting 2 by 3 split. Okay, click on layout and you will get 2 by 3 split, and then you will get this sort of arrangement. Okay, any other window will produce some other kind of split or some other kind of basically variety of arrangement. There are variety of arrangement possible, but I find most comfortable with 2 by 3 split. If you have some other comfort, that is totally fine. So you can choose your comfort from this button, 2 by 3 split and other. So I choose this one, and what I also want is I go to this general and I click on console. So this is the place where I get output from the console window. So console window is basically the code output, the text output. Okay, so now look at this. What is this? This is scene. Scene is basically the place where you arrange objects. Okay, you select your scene and then you say Unity, okay, click picture. Okay, it's like a picture. It's like a picture creator. Okay, so we got our scene. Okay, then the next thing is game. Okay, the game is basically the final output of whatever the construction is there in scene. So you arrange something and then you see the output in this game window. Now this is basically the hierarchy, or you can also say this is where all the things are. So right now there are two things. There are, one is camera, the other one is directional light. We are going to talk about that, but first let's talk about this window. This is asset. You can also say that this asset window is actually the folder structure inside this asset. Okay, so if I put one more file here, suppose if I want to put a text file here, name it asp, okay, asp.text, and then if I go to here, I should see the asp file. Okay, so if I click on assets, I can see the asp files. So here are all the folders and here are all the files inside those folders. So if I go to select a folder, it will show the file inside that folder. So you got it, that is the project window. As I already said, this is basically whatever the camera is seeing. Let me create some object here. So if I right click here, I should be able to create a cube. Okay, a cube is a 3D object which you can create. I can position the cube as, here is this window is called the inspector window. So if you click on any object, these numbers are related, these numbers are the properties of this object. All right, so whatever the properties you want in an object, it is there. Okay, so if you change the properties, the object will change in this arrangement, in this scene. I'm going to do a lot of changes with this object. Okay, so let's make it 0, and then hit tab, it will go to y, let's make it 0. Hit tab, it will go to y, let's make it 0. Okay, so now you saw that this position is changed. What you can also do, you can press QWER, which is the first row of your keyboard. Okay, alphabetical keyboard, and when you press W, you get these sort of arrow, and from this you can move this cube. Okay, you can move in any direction. All right, you can move upside or downside. You have all these options, so you can use them. All right, so you may also see whenever I move this, suppose in this direction, see, look at the inspector and you will see that position in the x direction is changing. All right, nothing else is changing, but position in the x direction is changing rapidly. Right, so which means it's changing just the x direction. This is related to the z direction, and y is related to how much up or how much down. So y, okay, so if you want to work with 3D games, 3D engines, you have to care about these numbers. Okay, so these numbers are called transform, or you can also call them position, rotation, and scale. All right. Now what I'm going to tell you is actually the 80% of the work which you do in any game engine. Okay. So 20% is very hard, but 80% is very simple. And 80% of the time you will be dealing with simpler stuff, which is changing these values. Whatever you call animation is nothing but made of these combination of these values, which means you have to, if you know how to positions means from one position to make it to the other position, if you know how to arrange that, if you know how to create rotation. Okay, so if I'm going to hit rotation, you can see it's rotating. uh, can you see rotated? Yes. Okay, so you should know how to rotate, and then you should know how to scale. So 80% of the games are made of with position, rotation, and scale, nothing else. Position, rotation, and scale. Then there are a few more concepts like anchoring. I'm going to show you how does anchoring work. For example, I create another object, sphere. Okay, I created a sphere there. Now this cube has nothing to do with this sphere because they are different objects. It has nothing to do with sphere. But now see what will happen if I select the sphere and I drag it inside this cube. Okay, so now what happened? Nothing happened on the visual end. There's nothing which happened, nothing changed, isn't it? But when I'll drag this cube now, the sphere is dragging with it. If I rotate the cube now, you can see sphere is rotating too. You can see that. If I rotate in any direction, the sphere will rotate. So you can see effect here where sphere is rotating. Got it? Why this is happening? This is called anchoring. This is the fourth most important rule which you will be using 80% of the time. And this rule is used in multi softwares. For example, the graphic designer guy I was talking to must already know about anchoring, that you can drag something inside other thing and then they get connected. Whenever you use the parent object, the child object will move accordingly. Okay, so this is a very, very important concept of game engines. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a little bit about the camera, how the camera works, and what are the properties of camera. Okay, so before building our game, we need to know how the camera works. That is very important. Cool. So this camera is nothing but a point in space. Okay, which point? That is defined by this position object. All right, so if you want to ask any questions, you can definitely ask. So if I move this position, okay, you can see this camera in this is called gizmo of the camera. So this camera is moving there. Okay, I'm going to move it there, so it is moving there, and you can see the outcome of camera. You can also see a smaller window which is showing the outcome, and you can see the larger window in the game section. Okay, so if I'm moving camera, it looks like everything else is moving, but nothing else is moving, just the camera is moving, and it looks like that the world is moving. Got it? So this is how camera works. Also, there are few properties of camera which I'm going to explore now. Okay, the most important is a skybox. So I can change from skybox. Skybox is basically in what sort of environment you are. I can change it to solid color, and now you see that the background is changed. So it is basically a background property. If you change it to skybox, the background is skybox. If you change it to solid color, now the background is solid color. And you can also change the background of this solid color. You can change it to any color you want. All right, so let's choose this sort of color, this pure white color or something. Okay, or maybe this dull color, whatever the color you want to choose. Okay, I love this sort of color. This gray color is perfect, so let's choose this. It's giving a very cool look, isn't it? Okay, now let's talk about this directional light. All right, so this directional light has a color value. If I select any other color, you can see the color of the objects is changing. How? Because this is telling the objects that the light of the object is a little bit yellowish. You can also change it to white light, yellow light, maybe red light. So the object of the color is not changing, but the lighting conditions are changing. You got it? So I think this light is perfect. A little like sun. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay, so this is representing the values of sun, and it is good. Also, let's get back to camera, and there is a very important option called field of view. Okay, so you can see what is happening. It looks like they are zooming. Okay, but they are not zooming. So camera has a property called frustum. Okay, frustum has two components. One is near plane, and the second one is far plane. All right, so when you zoom it, the difference between near and far plane, this far plane gets closer to the near plane, and the size of the far plane does not change. Okay, so how far is the plane is going to be is changing, but the size of the far plane is not changing. The size is still same, but you can see this arrows, this is small arrows, hard to see arrows, but they will change. Okay, based on that you can do things like zoom and everything. All right, so let's pick the value, reset the value to 60, which was good. There is also near plane and far plane. I'm not going to talk about that much, but suppose if I put the value of 5 in this, you can see this far plane is till here, and you can see this object, this cube object is exceeding the far plane, so it is culling off. So we call it, it's not drawing fully, because camera only draws whatever is in the far plane. So somebody I think hops in. Let me admit him. Okay, so camera only draws whatever is in these boundaries of the near plane and the far plane. If I move the far plane ahead, you can see look at this small cube. What will happen to this when I'll move the camera far and near? Okay, so if I'm moving it, you can see it's not drawing fully. This cube is becoming complete when I'm drawing. Okay, so what I'm changing, I'm not changing anything related to draw. I'm changing the far value. You can see how the camera is behaving there. Okay, so you got a little bit of concepts that how things work or render. Okay, I'm going to also talk about the code. We have to try a little bit of code. Let me admit. Yeah, view all, admit. Cool. Now we are good to go. Now we know enough concepts that we can dive in and write some code. Okay, so let's first set up our uh, area where we want to be. Okay, so 0, 0, 0, and let's put it -1 because I want to make it a floor. Okay, and let's make it 100. Okay, let's make it 100. Okay, now it's like a floor. Now it's like a map. Now how do you color things? Okay, so let's make some colors. materials, materials. Okay, in this materials I'll keep my materials means colors. Okay, so let me create material m0. Okay, how do you create a material? Right click, create, and then there is a material. Okay, material m1. Okay, so let's create some materials. So let me create something reddish. Okay, now this is a red thing. Let me create something dark. Okay, now this is a dark material. Let me put the dark material here. Now it looks like the floor is dark. Okay, you got the idea. Okay, we can also put pictures in these material. There is a albedo property. I'll do that. Let me just try grabbing a picture from the internet. Let's say grid. All right, let me try grabbing some grid. Okay, I like this picture. Let me just download that. Okay, I downloaded a grid picture from the internet and I'm going to use it. So let me create a folder to keep the picture. Let me call it texture because we call texture when we talk about pictures, we call them texture in Unity. Okay, we dragged our texture here and that is good to go. Now we'll go to material, click on this and select our texture. So here go to texture and drag it here. Okay, now you saw what happened. The texture is there. Now you can see how the texture is applied. Okay, can you see the same texture what we selected here? If you look closely, you can see there are a lot of blocks. This is not transparent one. This has a lot of blocks and that is being added. All right, so our texture is added here and we can see how it is added. Okay, so I'm happy with my texture. It looks like a floor or something, so it is very good. Now the next thing what we want is basically adding our player. Okay, so let's create a player. So right click, let's create a capsule. Okay, a capsule is created. Let me just make sure the capsule is in the view area. So drag it here and here. Just 1 second. Yeah, capsule is a little below. So you can drag and readjust wherever you want the capsule to be, or you can also type values by yourself. Like if I put 000, you can see capsule is here. All right, so now just give me a second. I'll put the capsule here on the surface. Okay, you got it. So this capsule is going to be our friend. Okay, this capsule is going to be our character. All right, but before doing that, let me show you one more trick. Okay, I'm going to create one ball as well, one sphere. Okay, I've created the ball, the sphere. I'm going to make the sphere red, so you know how to make things red. you just drag and drop this, and now it's red. Okay, you can see the red ball. Let me play this button. So when we play something, the game starts. Now nothing happened. Okay, the game has started but nothing happened. Why? Because we didn't even tell the game that what to do. Okay, so now we are going to tell it. Okay, let's say I want it to behave like physics. Okay, so I want to add physics on this, so I added the rigid body. Rigid body is basically the physics part. So if I turn it on, now you can say the ball has fallen down. If I am picking it up, it's falling down again and again. Okay, let me also do this here. Okay, you can see it's collided with some object here, so it's coming down. It's going too far. Hold on. Yeah, so that's how it works. Okay, so for example, if I turn it on, you can say it will fall. If I want to move it here, so you can see it's colliding with this object. Okay, you got my point. So now it has physics. The rigid body component is basically defining physics. It's saying that it has mass of 1, it has some sort of angular drag, and so on and so on. I can also, if I don't want to use gravity, I can turn on this and it will behave like previously, but you can move things still. Okay, so for example, if I want to move, this one has a physics, remember that. So what will happen when I touch it? You saw, I can drag it, I can push it. You can saw, I pushed it. Previously I was not being able to push it. If it doesn't have any physics, I should have not been able to push it. Okay, well, now let's create one more kind of material that is called physics material. So go to again create and then go to physics material. So I'm going to create physics material. Here it is. All right, so I'm going to make this full bouncy. So how do you make full bouncy? Put 1 here. If you put full bouncy, it will go full bouncy. Now in the sphere collider is basically the object which is not allowing things to collide with each other. Okay, I'm dragging this here in the material, collider material. Now what will happen? I turned it on. Oh, sorry, I have to turn the use gravity button on. So in the rigid body, I have to turn use gravity on. Okay, so this time you saw what happened. It fell and it jumped. Why it's jumping? Because this time it's bouncy. It's not previously it was not bouncy, but this time it is bouncing because it has the physics material. It knows how to behave. So physics material are advanced settings which tells you how much bouncy the things will be, how much uh, friction and bounce. If I set it to multiply, see what will happen. You put it the average and multiply. So sorry again, I have to turn the use gravity on. So you saw, okay, hold on. Oh, I have not dragged this here. Drag it here, use gravity on, turn this on. So now you saw there is some problem. Let me set it to maximum and then retry if that works. Okay, you can saw now it's bouncing too loud. Okay, so if you set it to maximum, it's bouncing too much and it's keep increasing. Okay, so just 1 second, give me, yeah, it is maximum now. So you will see what will happen. It is keep bouncing too much. All right, so that's how physics behaves in Unity. So that is a smaller introduction to physics. Now we are going to also write a little bit of code. Okay, before writing code, let's remove this bouncy one. We don't need it. Let's create uh, a guy, our main character. So we are going to create that. So let's create m2. Let's make it a skin color or something so that it looks good. Okay, I applied this, but red guy doesn't look good, so I'm going to make something like here. Okay, now this looks like human color. Okay, now we have to, what we have to do is basically add a little bit of swag to this. So I'm going to add 3D object, make it a cube. Okay, I'm going to add this cube on like a glasses. Okay, like a goggle. I need to put it like a goggle. Okay, now you can see he's looking cool, isn't it? Okay, so since these are glasses, I am going to shape it black. So black glasses will look cool on him. None. Hold on. What did I do? Okay. So put the black glasses. I need them to be even more dark. Full black glasses. Okay. Or maybe red glasses. Black are cool. Okay. Cool. Now it has its own glasses, and now the character is ready. Okay. Now we have to make sure that character follows our instructions and move. Okay, now we have to code the character. Let's name it player. So I'm going to name it player. Okay, I need to make sure the character moves, so I'm going to create a folder called scripts, and in this folder I'm going to create one script. So create a C# script. C# is the language which is used for this sort of programming. So I'm going to name it player movement. All right, now we got our player movement. I'm going to drag this script over here. All right, now double tap on this script and you will see this Visual Studio, Visual Code, whatever, and you can write your code here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you that there are two functions, like start is there, update is there. So start is basically, I'm going to show you that when start is calling and when update is calling. So debug dot log, that's how you print thing in Unity. Okay, uh, hello world start. Okay, it will tell us that I am start
Hello.
function. Yeah, tell me. Code is small. Let me try to make the size.
No, no, no. Go ahead, please.
Okay, just 1 second, I'm trying to make sure that, okay, now code is looking big size. Okay, now that should not be a problem. All right, so hello world start, and I'm going to write hello world update. You got my point? So here it will print hello world start, here will print hello world update. So we will know that when these functions are being called. Okay, so we added a player script here. If you don't for example, if I delete it from here, so remove component and play, what will happen? Nothing will happen. All right, because we are not adding the script. For anything to work in Unity, you have to make sure that is in this hierarchy section. So to put a script in hierarchy section, you have to add it to a component. So whoever component you are going to add this script to is going to behave like that component. So that is the very use of the script. Okay, I'm going to play it now. Now it's telling me that hello world start, and now it's also telling me hello world update, but there's a number there. If I turn off collapse, you can see it's telling me hello world update rapidly. It's telling me a lot of updates. Okay, you got my point? It's 2000 times, 3000 times it had told that hello world update, hello world update, hello world update, and just one time it said that hello world start. Why it is so? So these functions, and there are so many other functions, are message from Unity to us. So this file is called mono behavior, and this class is inherited in this player movement. So if you want to attach anything to a component, if you want to attach anything to your player component or anything, if you want to attach things to your this script like this capsule collider or anything, you have to make sure that it is inheriting this mono behavior. Otherwise you will not get information from the Unity that what is happening to your mono behavior or what is happening to your game object. So this object is called a game object. If I create anything here, create empty, so even this object is a game object. You can see there's nothing there apart from just this positions, but this object is game object. All right, so you can move this and nothing is moving, but this object is game object. So if you want to get the information that what is the state of a game object, you have to make sure you are inheriting this mono behavior. Now these functions are the call from the mono behaviors, and they are basically telling me that now the project is started and now the project is updating. So you saw that project was updating too many times. Why so? Why you think the project was updating so many times? Started just once but updating more than 4 5,000 times. So does anyone want to answer that why it was updating so many times? Do you guys want to answer? Anybody? Yeah, Tread Boys, do you want to answer?
Not really. I don't have any idea at the moment.
Okay, no worry. Okay, so the way any game engine works is basically the idea behind any game engine is you have to take a lot of pictures. Okay, so this camera, whenever I move this camera, you think that it is moving the things, okay, but it's not moving anything. It's taking a lot of pictures from each other perspective. So let me show you a video. Okay, I'm going to show you a very good video of what I'm telling you. Have you guys seen Avengers the movie? Okay, so this guy is going to draw a lot of images of Avengers the movie. Okay, he is going to draw a lot of images, and now you know that images are not moving. Okay, because images on paper does not move.
Can I beg this thing?
All right, he is creating a lot of pictures on images, but see what will happen in the end. So you can see what is going to, he created a lot of pictures, and you will see that what will happen in the end. So can you see? So he actually played the whole movie on the paper. He's changing the picture one by one, and it looks like that he's playing the movie. But you know that nothing is playing there because blank papers does not move. All right, papers does not move. Paper is not moving, but it looks like that the movie is playing. You got the idea? The same thing is happening with Unity. Okay, when you saw that cube moving, nothing was moving. Okay, but Unity was cleverly changing pictures a lot of times. How many times? So in about 1 minute it changed to 5,000 pictures. Okay, so here there is no motion, there is no game, there is no nothing. All right, but Unity is changing a lot of movies. These movies are called update cycle. In this update cycle, the Unity tells you to make the arrangement in such ways I'm going to, so that I can take a picture and it looks like I'm just taking a continuous motion. Okay, so you have to do just that, you have to follow that, just that. So this update is going to tell you that, dude, I'm going to click a picture, make sure you come in the right correct position. Okay, so for example, if I add a smaller value here, suppose transform
for the mail.
Okay, now let's see what will happen if this compiles well. Okay, now it is compiled. Now let's see what will happen. I'll play this, and what is happening? Can you see something? This cube is floating up. He is becoming like Jesus. He is flying. The cube is flying very slowly, okay, by itself. And you can see here a lot of numbers. Okay, so cube is not actually flying. There's nothing which is making the cube fly. If I put it back here, it will still fly. It is very slowly moving up. I can control the speed of this movement. I can make it suppose 5 here. Okay, now let's see what will happen. So now the cube will fly faster. I play this. Now you can see the cube is flying much faster. You can see. Now let's see what I did. Okay, how I made the cube fly. Okay, what I'm doing is basically I'm adding the position. Okay, at each frame. So this is one frame. This is where Unity is going to tell us that, okay dude, I'm going to take a next picture and make sure you arrange your object. So I'm arranging my object, my cube, in such a way that whenever Unity takes picture, it looks like a continuous motion. So I'm making a very small movement in the positive y direction. So this is the x, this is the y, this is the positive y, and this is the z. Okay, so I'm making a change in positive y direction, a very small change. How do I make sure that change is very small? I'm using this variable. I'll let you know that why we use this variable later. Cool, now you got it how we do that. Now we don't need this, now we don't need this. Okay, so now you know how to move things, right? You have to make sure that you are making some changes in small intervals. Okay, that's how you move things. So if I play it, it will move. So if I play it, okay, why? Okay, sorry. Okay, now it's playing, and now it's the cube is flying. Now you know how to make changes. All right, so let me also go to camera, make it a skybox so that it looks like the guy is want to have some sunshine or something. All right, let's make it a red guy with a black goggle. Red guy, black glasses. Okay, cool. Okay, so now you saw, but it's moving by itself. It's not moving by our control. Now we have to build our control. We have to make sure it's only moving when we want it to move, not by itself. Now let's see how we're gonna do it. Okay, so we have to first make sure that when we want it to move, suppose we want to make it move only when we press something. So if, okay, what we'll do, input dot get key down. Okay, input dot get key down and key code dot a. Okay, suppose if a key is pressed or something is pressed. Okay, dot put dot get key count and key code a. Okay, so if I press this, all right, then only move up, otherwise don't move up. Okay, so when I'm pressing it, then only, or maybe not get key count, maybe get key. You'll know the difference very soon. Okay, so whenever I press this, only then move up, otherwise don't move up. So let's see if it works. So now let's see what will happen. It's not moving up. We won the half battle. Now I'm pressing the key and now it's moving up. I stopped the key and now it's not moving up. I press again and now it's moving up. I stop and not moving up. Okay, so now we have some sort of control that when we want to move and when we don't want to move. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to fix this. We have to make sure that it works only when it works in like it works in any other game. So now for to doing that, I need to make sure that I'm pressing the right key, I'm coding the right key for right sort of movement. So let's do that. Okay, I'm going to paste this, paste this, paste this. Okay, so we have, let's code for 4 keys. For A is going to be the left key. So I have to move in minus Y direction, minus X direction. Or you can say, you can also keep it plus here and put -1 here. So suppose 0.5, okay, and then F and make it 0 here. All right, you got it? Got my point? 0.5 and then F. All right. So where it will move minus, so this is the going to be the left, minus X is going to be left. A key is mapped to left now. Okay, or maybe write the left here. All right, so we mapped it. Now what we are going to do, whenever somebody press the D button, then it should move right. All right, so whenever somebody press D button, it should move right. How do we move right? We have to move plus X. To move right, we have to move plus X. Okay, plus X and no movement in the Y direction. Okay, now it should move right. You got it? Okay, now how I'll move forward and backward. So whenever somebody press W, I should move forward. How do you move forward? Move in the Z direction. So this is for forward. So I'll move 0.5f in Z direction. Okay. And how do you move backward? So suppose if somebody is pressing S, all right, I want to move backward. So I'll make it -5 and let's make it 0. Okay, because I don't want to move in this direction. Let's move it 0, 0. Okay, cool. Now it should work. Okay, I'm going to go and save this code. So this is forward and this is backward. All right. Yeah, let's save the code and let's run it. Okay, nothing is happening, which means our character is not moving. That is exactly what we wanted. If I press forward button, it's going this way, which means forward and backward are reverse. Okay, so it's going this way. If I go the S button, it's coming towards us. If I press left button, it's going the right way. If I going this button, it's going the right way. Okay, so now we know how to move in different directions. All right, you got it? So now we are able to control the button, but it's not turning, it's moving very weird. Is it turning? No, it's not turning. It's moving very weirdly. It is not good. And also I don't like the speed. So we have to fix these two things now. Okay. So let's see how do we gonna do fix it. All right. So suppose whenever we are going left or right, we don't have to do it by position. Otherwise, you don't move like sideways. Okay, it's moving sideways, so that is wrong. How do I'm gonna move uh, face towards some direction and then move there. Okay, so that should be the correct way of moving that. Okay, so I don't have to change the position. Maybe I should change the rotation to do so. All right. Okay, so dot rotation. Okay, and then rotation equal to whatever the transform dot rotation is. Okay, so this is for positive rotation, the left. Sorry, this should be the in y-axis we are rotating. Okay, so this should be for left, and let's try this should be for right. Let's try this if this works. All right, so let's try this. Okay, this should look good. It's compiled, and let's hit this. Okay, now let's see if we can rotate it. Okay, so it's rotating and then move ahead. Okay, but it's not moving in the forward direction. Okay, it's rotating good now. All right, you can let me make it closer. Come close, come close, come close, even more closer. The speed is very slow. I have to make sure next time I code speed good. All right, now it's coded. Okay, I can move it here. I can move it here. Okay, I can do that now. Now it looks like that I'm controlling it. All right, but there are some problems. So let me just try to fix them. The first thing, the biggest problem is it's not moving in forward direction. So I have to make sure it's moving in forward direction. Okay, now it should move in the forward direction. Let me just check. And let me put all this in one bracket for simplicity. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, it's telling me some problem is there. I cannot multiply these. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Let's see what will happen with this. Okay, let me just test this one. It's not working as expected. So I need to make sure it's moving in the forward direction. I wrote a little wrong code here. Okay, so I'm sorry for that. I'm going to fix it very quick. Hmm. So if I have to move forward, I have to make sure I do this. Transform dot position, transform dot forward times how much I have to move. All right. Okay. So one dimensional movement times whatever I want to move, one times time. Sorry. Okay. Now let's test this one. If this works. Okay. Let's see if this one works, and then I'll replicate the same. Cool. This one worked. Okay. So I'm going to use the same line here, but will change from +1 to -1. All right. And now we have to introduce a variable called speed. Okay. So that is the only thing left. So let's see how to introduce speed. So I'm going to delete this because I don't want it. Public speed. Okay. Suppose we introduce float, move speed. Okay. Move speed, we put the move speed by suppose 5. All right. And then public float rotation speed, and we keep the rotation speed by 50 or suppose 20. Let's okay. Now how we gonna move? So make sure these are for rotation, so I'm going to put rotation speed. Okay. And here as well, rotation speed. And what I observed was that rotation was different because we are shooting from another angle. So I'm going to fix this. Okay. And then put move speed here. Move speed. And then here as well, move speed. So now our game is created. Our player is moving. Now you know how to create your games. Okay. So let's go here, refresh this. Now let's see if we can control our character. So I played it. I'll try to move this. Oh, it's moving really fast. It's moving cool. So I can move where I want to move. Okay. So wherever the character is looking, I can move there. Can you see? So I can make sure that character is looking in the right direction, and then I can move there. I can come back. All right. Now it's like a human character, or a simple human character, or something like that. Okay, I can move back, I can move forward, I can move slowly, I can move fast. Okay, I can also have this sort of numbers where I can select the rotation speed. For example, I find rotation very fast, so I'll keep it 10. Okay, now if I press button, you can see it's moving a little slow. If I want to make it even slow, I keep it 1, and now it will move even slow. So now you see how slow it is moving, rotating. Okay, if I keep it back to 10, it will move faster. Okay, it is very smooth. All right, so that's how you pretty much create your first game. That is your first game. That is Unity 101. If you have any questions, so please ask. This is it for the session. You have any questions, guys? Yep. Do you want to ask any questions? I'm ready for questions now. Odiga, how are you? You have any questions, brother? Okay, no worries. I think there are no questions for us. So thank you for joining, and we enjoyed this session. Thank you so much. Have a great time, guys, and I hope you learned something. I'll give you the project link as well. I'll upload the project for you guys to experiment and play with. All right, Odiga, I'll provide you the project link so that your boys can play with it and have a. You're doing such a great job. So enjoy being in the community and make games, make virtual reality, make things that create your community ahead. Okay, so have a great time, guys.